It is the start of the month, which means only good news as we start with incredible resources to improve us as designers. Hey everyone, I hope you're well, playing and making the games that you all love. You're joining me, your host, Max Pears. Absolute pleasure to be with you, and thank you for taking the time, whether it be morning, evening, or night when you're listening to this podcast. Absolute pleasure to have you with me and kind of talking through this. As many of you may know, at the start of the month we tend to go through different resources that I've scoured through, listened to, watch, whatever it may be, to help us just all become better level designers. I think it's a really important part of what we do. I don't know everything, and I think it's always cool to learn from one another and see what's out there, see what other incredible devs are sharing such crucial information that helps us all, really. And I think that's really what this kind of series in the podcast is always about. Now, we're going to go through 5 resources that I'm very excited to tell you about. Also, an announcement, the talk that myself and Johnny did at DevCon, for those of you following me on Twitter, called Unifying Vision, that will be out early October. It's the kind of roughly the end of September when I'm recording this, so we're aiming for 8th of October, 8th or 9th. So if you're looking forward to that, please know it will be available both on podcast format and on YouTube. I probably would recommend YouTube simply just so you can see the examples that what we're talking about as well, because I know some people know that I put it up on there but get annoyed that they can't see it. So please know it will be on all formats for you to consume how you best prefer. Let's get into all the resources and go through them.
But first, let's have a quick word from today's sponsor. Today's sponsor is none other than me. What I've done, everyone, and I hope you're excited for this, is I've actually created a level design kind of store. What I've done in this store is put up different kinds of tips and tricks that you can find there, whether that be my actual ebook itself, to that of level design pamphlets focused on different things such as traversal, stealth, breaking into the industry, as well as different talks that I have done which you cannot find anywhere else other than on this store. So if you are looking to improve on your level design skills and processes, then check out the Level Design Store, which will be down in the description below, where there'll be a link to find this. All you need to do is head over to gumroad.com/level design lobby. I hope you like what you see, and I look forward to hearing your thoughts. Thank you, and now back to the show.
So the very first one is on GameDeveloper.com, and this one is called Training the Game Designers of Tomorrow. It's the first part in a 5-part series, which is by Pascal Lubin, who is a French game dev who's been designing. It was a lead level designer, and this is 1995, so like when I was 3, so clearly an incredibly experienced developer. And he's just talking about that of like game design in general for it, in terms of how he believes things have changed, what he believes that people are learning and not learning, and what it is that we need to kind of encourage. Now, I know I get a lot of students and aspiring game developers listening to the show, so I think it's really important to kind of go through these elements for it. So another great resource to check that out. I won't go through all of it simply because I don't think it's fair to go into too much detail when it's there. Incredible resources, but part 1 is definitely much more kind of based on soft skills than I would say that of more traditional Unreal or engine based examples and practicalities. So do go check that out. I think it is really important for us all, and it is a reminder to us all about definitely the skills that we need just outside of the actual technical ability for it. And again, each part focuses on different aspect, but part 1 very much more on that of the soft skills for it. And again, a very great one, I think, all in all, to have. And again, to have someone so experienced as well talk about it, I think is really crucial for us all. I think to again just see how much things have changed since 1995 to almost 2025, right? So yeah, incredible one to see. Yeah, almost 30 years experience. That's crazy, I think, as well. The second one, if you follow me on Twitter, I have already recommended this one, but this is by Tim Does Level Design. Tim is an LD at Ubisoft Annecy, very experienced. We've had him on the show for, I've been on his show as well. Just incredible all-around dude. I really enjoy speaking with him. And he's actually launched his own kind of free level design course, which is all up on YouTube. I think it is a 10-part series, if I remember correctly. And just, yeah, wow, is what I'll say. Just to go through, get all that time done to get something for you all out there, I think is incredible. So do check it out. He goes through from the simplicity. He's using mainly Unreal, but he does obviously recommend that of Unity as well. But he's really focusing on the elements that of how it is that you can get into this, what it is we can do for it. So I really recommend checking it out, and I think it's a great one because it helps you build something for your portfolio. Now, if I remember correctly, in this course, he's focused more on a kind of a platformer style level, but again, still an incredible one to get you all going, and it's free out there by an experienced designer, no less, as well. I think his recent project is Star Wars Outlaws, so again, yeah, an incredible kind of I know he's worked on many other games, but yeah, incredibly well-knowledged designer, and I think someone, again, worth listening to about it. And like I said, the fact that it's free, yeah, I would definitely check it out for you if, again, you're aspiring, you want to learn something, maybe something different. 10 parts is all, so check it out. Honestly, I could not recommend this enough. Great guy, great designer, and I think just worth, yeah, just very much worth spending your time listening, learning from it. So, yeah, cannot recommend it enough. The third one comes from that of Cameron McKellar, who talks about that of power progression in games, crafting rewarding player experiences, kind of breaking down how it is we entice and really get players to buy into our level loop, well, not necessarily levels, gameplay loops, progression loops, elements like that, where we make players feel that they are growing, and we're rewarding that growth through that of mastery or actual level up in, say, the traditional RPG manner for it. So yeah, I really recommend checking this one out for it. I like talking about, again, something you may have seen, but external and internal rewards. But the elements of also like dopamine, right? Like, it's a weird one to think about, but that is kind of the rush we all get in many different forms, and maybe over exacerbated in today's society with social media, etc. But I think it's worth mentioning, and I think it's very much worth having there for us. Again, something focused on it. It's not something that I tend to do in terms of the game loop itself, but more of the level loop of how we reward players with, say, that example from a level design perspective, level loot, maybe that of rewarding with a new weapon, maybe that of rewarding something and a challenge of a boss fight, elements like that. That's more kind of my focus. But hearing it from the game design point of view, always fascinating, always slightly different to what I'm used to working on. So another great resource, I think, for it, that again focuses on how we can keep players engaged, how we can keep them locked on to what we actually want for it as well. So I think get in, read it. It's only about a 10-minute read. So yeah, check it out. Another one I really enjoyed this. But number 4 is why Remedy Entertainment went all in on Saga and Alan Wake 2, which is an interview. This is now back from November in 2023, but I thought it's still relevant for it, especially with now the announcement of Alan Wake 2's DLC coming for it. But breaking down that of why it is they focused on not just Alan Wake in the sequel, but that of Saga, and why her play is very different to Alan's, and breaking down with Sam Lake and an old co-worker of mine, Kyle Rowley, as well, which is, again, incredible to see different kind of aspects, different takes for this. And yeah, I really enjoyed this one. I think it's really interesting to see them go down a different route, right? Especially after Alan Wake was solely focused on Alan, and that was back in, I was at uni when that game came out, so a long time ago. I'm not going to say how many years ago because I don't want to feel old, but I think we can see again how they've sort of a twist, and I definitely think some of her levels were some of the best as well, and different character perspective, and really kind of added more grounding, I think, to the actual more sense of humor and view of the Alan Wake universe. Obviously, Remedy's known for kind of a Twin Peaks style of storytelling for it, so they can definitely lean more in the fantastical in terms of quirky realm. So seeing again how they choose to use this and what was their inspiration for it, and finding out how to design her and keeping her in that realm for the game, yeah, great one for it. Really do just recommend for that one. This one is, I believe I've tweeted this one out as well, but this one is a survival guide for game developers in a post-pandemic world. We've talked about, sadly, a lot of people losing their jobs within that of the recent years. Sadly, as we all know, many people still losing jobs. I think nDreams closed some jobs down, if not last week, the week before of recording this. Microsoft laid off another 650. As of the 26th of September, I know employees in Ubisoft France are going on strike, or calling for strike, with the fact that they are being told to be mandatory back in office. I know there's a big kick up a fuss with Rockstar about a similar element of that as well. Yeah, a lot to learn, sadly, and I know still this industry is an incredible place to be. I'm very fortunate that, again, I've been able to work continuously despite layoffs and contracts lost during this kind of time period for it, and I definitely don't take for granted for what I have had in terms of my career, and it's still an absolute element I love. If you look with the Final Fantasy stuff, myself and Johnny Wilson were just at the Final Fantasy concert yesterday for me, so again, just a reminder of how incredible and powerful games as a medium can be. But for those I know aspiring, even those currently with experience, right? Yeah, it's still a lot. So this one video really covers aspects on how you can get through this, right? How you can do so much to help with your career in this. And even though it is a lot to get into it, I think there is still a lot that we can still be diligent with in terms of standing out, making sure that we are still valued and we value ourselves for it. So it's a great video on that, and again, focusing on soft skills as well. So I hope people find this useful regardless of age and experience for it, because I think it's an important one to have. And the final and sixth one is QA, the career path, evolution from industry entry point. And I think it's, again, something that I've mentioned before. Even in my Cyberpunk talk, I talk about QA team members that I worked with, Pavel specifically, on chipping in. And sometimes we can definitely see that QA is underappreciated, both financially and in terms of a lot of people using it as the stepping stone, right? Like I know plenty of incredible designers who previously were QA. I know some that not, including myself, but it's also a reminder that it's not just a stepping stone. I know a lot of people use that, but it is an incredible role that we need and should be respected, regardless if people choose to stay there and evolve into that, because a good QA is still hard to find and especially hard to hold on to. So yeah, it's a very different perspective, and I think it's one that's worth listening to, because I'm pretty sure a lot of students will have been told, and I'm sure I'm guilty of mentioning it myself, it is a starting point for it, but there is actually a lot more to it than just being a starting point. So I think it's an important topic to have and topic to share as well. So yeah, really wanted to just kind of put this one in as a final one to enjoy for it. So the 6 that we've gone through for it is the first one of Training the Game Designers of Tomorrow, which is a 5-part series on game developer by Pascal Lubin. I hope I've made that extra French when I didn't mean to there for it. Then we have the Level Design course by Tim Does Level Design, free course over on YouTube on his channel. We have that of Powering Progression in Games, Crafting and Rewarding Players, again on GameDevelopers.com. Why Remedy decided to focus on Saga and Alan Wake 2 for number 4. Number 5 is a survival guide for game developers in a post-pandemic world. And then the 6th one is that of a QA career path. All of these will be linked down below for you to go check them out. If you do have ones that you want to share with me or think are worth sharing with all of the incredible community of you listening, then please do contact me. You can leave a comment below wherever it is. You can make sure to subscribe. That's a great way to get in contact. But email into leveldesignlobby@gmail.com and reach me on Twitter @MaxPairs. So thank you all very much. Take care, and I'll catch you all next time.